All right, we're back with another riveting episode here. Riveting episode. Calling the show Beyond the Sign. Summer's almost over, and by that we mean school starts next week.
Can't wait.
Has it been chaos in your house the last week and a half or so?
I don't think chaos even describes it, but we were ready about 2 months ago to have these kids back in school, so we're definitely excited to meet the teacher this week and get things rolling next week.
Yeah, we went back to school shopping. Easily dropped at least $1,000 on clothes.
Yep, I'm probably gonna be there, right there with you.
Yeah, and that's fine. Shauna's got to go out for the school supplies next. This round was just the clothes, and then
They are BOGO at Publix. They
Okay.
don't have a huge selection, but
good to know.
anybody out there? Publix has all the kid snacks and school supplies BOGO right now.
Okay, I'll have to look into
No
it.
sponsorships asked for, but hey.
No endorsements asked for or
Yeah,
given.
that's right.
So we've got school going. We've got that time of year. Things start to shift a little bit. It's like it reminds me of like going out on deployment. So anybody who's been in the military probably can understand this, but you have what's called workups. So before you actually deploy, you spend about an entire year doing workups, and it starts with like a week at sea or a month at sea. Then you're going to different training areas, and it's like then all of a sudden you're loading up on the ship, getting ready to go, and it's chaos and it's crazy. Mm-hmm. And then the ship pulls out, and it's like, oh well, it's over now. We're headed, and it's just quiet and calm, and that's how back to school season feels. Kind of exactly the same. Summer.
I'm still waiting for the calm and quiet part, but
Yeah.
you know what? I hope that happens.
It'll take a little bit to set in. I think the same thing kind of happens in our industry where it gets pretty busy, and then there's like this juggling where people are trying to move and get in their new houses before school's out, and then it just kind of settles down around this time, and it's kind of we just looked over at my business book and pipeline, and it's like, wow, we were like boom, 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 stacking, and then it slowly is like slowed down for anybody who's making a move right now.
Yeah, I think people kind of always give the procrastinators out there, which at times I can be one, but they're like, oh, when school gets out, I'll look for a house, you know. And then when we get close to school getting back in, I can't look now because school's about to be back in, but we'll look after that or whatever it is. So I think in their mind, people have these just sort of mental notes of time frames like, oh, this is a good time for me to buy a house. Well, we're not. The reality is that every situation is different. But this week, I've got my first Hometown Heroes of this year closing, and so I know we'll kind of pivot into that and just talk a little bit about assistance products, what they are, what they aren't. I did have another realtor this week whose mind was blown by something when she didn't realize what it was. So we'll talk about that too.
Okay, cool. So let's get into Hometown Heroes. Before we get into that, let's just touch on solidifying a little bit more of where we are in the market. So this is information that's important to buyers and sellers who are out there. We basically have hit the peak. The peak is over as far as listing inventory, as far as price point, and as far as pending sales. So when I could look at these charts and data over the next 4 or 5 months as we make our way through fall and then into winter, we will start to see listings inventory come down. We will start to see price reductions go up, which means prices coming down. And then we'll see pending contracts go down. So the spring is like a really busy season. So everyone's like, oh, that's your best opportunity. It is and it isn't, because if you're a buyer, there's more competition with other buyers. Price points are higher typically during that time frame. And there's fewer listings available because they're selling quicker. It's not that they're not there coming on the market, but they're disappearing faster. At this time of year, as a buyer, you've got opportunity because the houses are staying on the market longer. You're able to kind of negotiate better price points, better incentives. And even as a seller, while that might seem like a net negative, on the other hand, because there's fewer listings out there, if you get your house on the market, you can have a little less competition. You just might need to expect that it might be on the market a little bit longer in the fall, winter than it will be in the spring. So it's not that the market completely dies or stops. I've got listings going active this week. I mean, everybody's got life going on at all year round.
Yeah.
So school season dictates a lot of it, but from that point on, life happens: births, divorces, jobs, everything.
The reality is that life is always happening, and if you want to find an excuse for something, you'll make one. But just looking at what's happening now in the market, and even with interest rates or the government, like, it doesn't seem like a whole lot's really going to be changing. I think they're still trying to fix the same problems we've been having for a while now. So I wouldn't expect any like massive rate drops or increases happening the next 4 to 6 months. I don't think, unless something happens, on the world stage that we can't anticipate. But it seems like they're still trying to fix the inflation stuff, and them reducing rates does not fix that.
They just had their meeting last week.
Yep.
They maintained the rates.
Yep.
There's 9 people on the board, right? So 6 voted to keep it at the level that it's at, and then 3 voted to raise it. So nobody was looking to bring it down. One thing that was interesting, I come in on Monday mornings and I get the news and everything before we come in here. What they were saying and their take on it, because remember, we kind of had a transfer. Somebody else took over the Fed, so there's kind of a change in influence there. And what their take on it was that the Fed of the past, couple years was kind of trying to control the market more by its decisions, where this current decision and the notes that got put out on why they made that decision were more of the position of like, hey, we're going to try to interact with it minimally and let the market kind of settle and correct itself. So that was kind of an interesting take. I'm interested to see how that plays out more.
Yeah. So if you're one of the folks that are like, oh, I'm waiting for rates to drop, I mean, you're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but I don't foresee there being a ton of change here coming up. If you're like, oh, we want to buy in a year or whenever it is, I'll be like, I don't know that it's going to be a whole lot different between, now and then, but we'll see.
Right. And in that report I was watching as well kind of noted, hey, while housing is what we talk about and what's important to us, it's not even like the centerpiece of the Fed's decision. They're looking at GDP, they're looking at workforce, unemployment, so many other factors in the economy, and housing isn't really their main focus or their priority. It's kind of like a byproduct. And at the same time, mortgage rates aren't 100% affected by their decision. They were putting it at a percentage, about like, hey, 70%. Now, however you interpret that, whatever. But the point was that like the Fed doesn't just come out and say we're lowering rates and raise lower. Sometimes, like even on this, they may have signaled that rates may go up in the future, which then all of the players in the economy, all the investors, the big banks, can maybe start charging more up front because they anticipate that the money they're going to get, supply, is going to go up soon. So they try to get ahead of it. Trevor, I just don't see like a huge reduction in rate, but the market keeps moving.
It's a little bit of butterfly effect too, I mean, it's like, oh, we'll do this, and then that'll fix it, and then now you create a whole bunch of other issues. Like, people don't understand when rates do come down, and we've said this 100 times on here, but when rates do come down, it's going to create a whole bunch of other issues that you don't have right now.
Yeah. And
so, yeah, maybe your rate's low, but you got to pay your closing costs out of pocket. And it's like, hey, do you want a higher rate, or do you want to have to bring in $10,000, $15,000 extra on top of your down payment if you're not getting assistance? So
True.
I don't know. Everybody is either renting right now or they're owning a home, right? So every year you have to kind of reanalyze and be like, hey, are we ready to buy now, or are we going to keep on renting? What options are available to us if we've got our lease coming up in a few months? Are we in a position to purchase a home, or do we just want to keep renting and never own anything of our own? Maybe there's less risk in that, if you want to call it that, but the most money I've ever made in my life is off of real estate. In every home that I've purchased in my life, I've made a good chunk of money on. It's been a great investment. Is every home a great investment? No. But if you're smart and you do your homework on it, it can be a really, really great investment for you, because you don't know what's going to come down the road.
Yeah.
Values increase. When I bought a home during COVID, I didn't think my property value was going to almost double.
Yeah.
But it did. If I was renting, I would have missed that boat completely. Just something to think about for those that are renting with leases coming up. You might want to just see what your options are.
All the doomers out there talk about how dead the market is, and you can't buy a house and you can't sell a house, and it's so hard. When I look at the data, we've sold nationwide, more homes have sold this year than in the previous like 3-4 years since we kind of hit that housing recession. Compass CEO was on there, and then I was watching Brian Sternhanton this morning, and they were talking 2025 was kind of the bottom, and we've kind of been cycling back up, and we've had more sales. 2023, 2024, 2025 had declining sales compared to what the average is, and this year they're coming back up. So it's interesting.
I mean, I think the challenge of it is that things are becoming more expensive, but wages are not increasing for a lot of folks. So it's really a tough thing to have to spend more when you're not making more. So maybe there's somewhere in the line that wages can increase. I don't know what that looks like. I know, again, it creates a whole other slew of issues, but I know there's some concerns out there for folks.
Definitely. Let's move on. Let's talk about the hometown heroes.
Yeah, so
Give us like a rundown to start.
I'll give you a quick rundown of assistance in general. So assistance is not free money. Are there options that are forgivable where you don't have to pay them back? Yes, but there's always going to be a trade-off. And by trade-off, I mean you're either going to pay a higher rate, you're going to pay a monthly payment on what you're getting, or you're just going to owe that money back at some point. The beauty of Hometown Heroes is it is only for veterans, first responders, teachers, healthcare workers, et cetera. So those are only folks that can access it, but it is not a forgivable assistance program. So I talked to an agent this week, and they were like, wait, Hometown Heroes, they have to pay that back? I'm like, yeah, it's not free money. I mean, the state's putting money into that account, but when you get that money, there's no payment on it, there's no interest on it, but you do owe it back.
Right.
So if you ever move from your home, or if you ever sell your home, if you're here and then it's like next year you get moved out to North Carolina and you got to sell this house, you got to pay all that money back. Now, the great thing about it is with assistance, normally your rate is going to be higher. So the rates on Hometown Heroes are pretty good for assistance. If you can get in and get the assistance there, and it's just a way to get you into a home without having a ton of money out of your pocket. I have somebody right now, didn't pay a dime. Got money from Hometown Heroes. We got enough in concessions. So they literally pay nothing to get into their home. So that can be done if you fit into one of those categories. If you don't, the state always runs assistance programs all the time that are typically repayable, or if they're forgivable, but they are going to be higher interest rates. So you're trading off a higher rate, so you don't have to bring in 3.5% to 5% on the down payment. And if you get one that is forgivable, that means once you originate it, you close on your home, and that money is free. Those are out there, but you're probably going to pay 1.5% to 2% higher on the interest rate doing it that way. And the last one I have is we have a solar option as well. That's actually pretty awesome, but the solar, it's an energy efficient program through FHA that they do where they'll give you up to $13,000, and that's a forgivable amount, and that's your down payment, and then they add solar to your home. Now you are paying for the solar, typically about $40,000. But it's added to your loan. It's paid in full. It's not a UCC lien. It's not like you're leasing it. You own those. So it's for folks that are going to be in this home long term and can really realize the value of having that solar, but you don't have to come in with a down payment. It's a really great program. And those rates are pretty much market rates.
Okay.
So that's assistance in a bubble, but don't be fooled by people that are like, oh, you don't ever have to pay it back, or it's just free money. That's never going to be true. The state's not just going to give away $60 million a year without ever having a plan to get it back.
No free lunch.
Nope.
Okay, so to break it down and simplify it, so you take out a loan for your house. You have that loan payment.
Yep.
The assistance is essentially another loan.
It could be. So it could be a loan. Yes, it is another loan. For simple purposes, it's another loan, but you either have it at 0%, it's deferred, but it never gets forgiven. So if you sell your home, you got to pay it back.
Okay.
Or you could have a monthly payment on it that you're paying monthly like $120 a month until it's paid down over like a 10-year period.
Okay.
Or lastly, if you're taking a much higher interest rate, probably 7s, 8s, maybe a little bit higher than that, then they will give it to you. And then you could like refinance down the road, but it's going to be a higher payment for 6-7 months.
Okay. So if it's the deferred one, then that means you're making your mortgage payment, but you're not making payments on the assistance.
That's what Hometown Heroes is.
You pay off your home in 15 years, 19, 30, whatever your term is, and then you start paying on that one.
It's like a balloon. So a balloon in the mortgage world is like, you imagine you blow up a balloon, you blow it up, and then it pops. And when it pops, that's you having to pay all that money back. So if in this case the Hometown Heroes money is in a balloon, okay, you're in this home 10 years, now we're going to sell it. Okay, And now when you sell it, that balloon pops. All that money you get from Hometown Heroes has to then be paid in full. There's no like partial payments on it. That you just pay it all at one time from sale, or if you move away from the home as your primary.
What if you stay in there?
Then at the end of 30 years, you pay it back.
You pay it back.
Yeah.
And so is interest growing?
It is not.
Okay.
So Hometown Heroes is 0% deferred assistance, but it's never forgiven and has to be paid back.
So not just the payment is deferred, but the interest is also deferred to the end.
Well, there's no interest on it at all. So if you borrow 10 grand, you owe 10 grand.
You owe 10 grand. Oh, okay. All right.
It's not accruing. You'll have interest on your first mortgage, which right now with Hometown Heroes, the rate I think is somewhere 6.5, 6.75, something like that. So that'll be on your loan entire time, but the money you get from the state is just deferred. There's no interest, no payment, but it never is forgiven.
Okay, to qualify for Hometown Heroes, do you have to have a high level of income or low level of income?
There are limits, but it's reasonable. I mean, it's like in the 140 range, I think, for like a couple, but you have to have at least a 640.
640 credit score.
Yeah, there's no like,
it's not.
You have it or you don't. So 640, and then there are some income thresholds, but it's pretty forgiving.
Okay, so 640 credit score. You can't be earning $1 million a year.
Yep.
But if you have an average income...
That'd be another conversation if you can't afford a house. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, right. Well, the point is it's not meant to help you get investments or to...
It's meant for people that actually need it.
Yeah.
You know.
Which there's a lot of especially people, younger families who things are expensive. Those are one of the challenges. Anything else about...
Well, and people may say, this is open to veterans too. People may say, well, why would a veteran take a loan out when they can get 100% financing? Well, not every house can get closing costs. So if you're a veteran and you're like, I have no closing costs and the seller's not budging at all, you could access the money from Hometown Heroes to pay for your closing costs.
To kind of go on that further, that is a big, either call it a point of confusion or a misunderstanding, because a lot of active duty service members, and typically, most of them are young. It's not that they're dumb or anything. We've talked about before, like, you don't know until you start getting into this stuff. So they're typically first-time home buyers. This is their first kind of real job, first point getting stable. They're young families or single. They're looking to buy a home, and when all the advertisements are just 100%, nobody's like, oh, and by the way, you got to pay your closing costs. Like, so 100% applies to not having to put money down, but there's still taxes, fees, closing costs associated with taking out a loan or buying a house.
Yeah, you got to pay a year of your insurance up front. So, I mean, there are expenses there that you don't realize may be there. And of course, our first plan of action is to get the seller to cover your costs, because that's the most beneficial. But if we couldn't do that and this was the house you had to have, you could go through Hometown Heroes. And the last part, Hometown Heroes, the rates are the same for everybody. I can't go and say, hey, I know you're with this lender, but I'll do Hometown Heroes for a better rate. There's not a better rate. Everybody gets the same rate. So you want to work with somebody that knows what they're doing. And if somebody's trying to sell you like a lower rate in Hometown Heroes, somebody else, doesn't exist. So everybody with the state gets the exact same rate. It's a little bit higher than market, but it's a really great program for assistance if you need it.
Those are some really cool options. If you yourself are thinking, maybe I need to take advantage of Hometown Heroes, shoot us a message or leave us a comment. We'll be sure to get in touch with you and go from there.
Yeah, man.
To switch it up, I kind of want to just talk a little bit about some wins that we've been having. It's been a full year. It's been a busy year. I know you joined Cross Country Mortgage. Give me, what are some of your biggest wins so far this year?
I will say, like, my last company really had my back, but since I joined Cross Country, they've freaking had my back, dude. I mean, there's not everything I can explain here, but in our business, and this is maybe just a good kind of FYI, and this is not just for me in Cross Country, but for every lender, when we originate a loan, whether it's with me or 20 other companies, they have to keep that on their books for 6 months. And the reason they have to do that is because in the secondary market, that's where the lender ends up making their money. And so they're kind of fronting like whatever I make on the loan is sort of paid up front, right? And then in 6 months, they make their money and that makes everybody happy and we're good. In our world, though, if somebody pays that off before 6 months, then we are actually penalized.
That's right.
And every bit of our commission has to be paid back. So we're very clear, and some companies may or may not tell you this, but if somebody says, hey, I'm trying to sell my home, but I can't get it sold and I want to buy, I can qualify, but I'm going to sell it as soon as we close and pay it off. I'm like, I'm not going to do your loan for you unless you promise me you can hold that for 6 months.
Yeah.
I can't force somebody to do it.
Right.
But it's a request. I had something like that did happen to me since I came over, and, we found a way to work it out, and they've been really great to me. Last one, I had one this last week, $1 million deal. And like in our world, these are same for you. It's like you don't want to lose one of these. So we were a day from closing. Everything looked great. And in our world, we can correspond lend, which means we kind of have access to some other, sorry, knocked it over. Some other lenders we can kind of facilitate through if they've got some products, sort of like a broker.
Yeah.
And so we were going through Citibank, and the 11th hour, they're like, hey, we're not going to allow you to use any of your portability. These folks were selling a home was $500,000, buying a $1.6 million house. So portability would be a maximum, which is $500,000.
Okay.
And portability helps you reduce the taxes on your new home when you sell a home that is currently in the state of Florida. That'll be another episode. But anyways, they came back and said we're not allowed to use any exemption. So their taxes instead of $14,000 would be $27,000, and their DTI couldn't go over, and that's debt to income, could not go over 43%. Basically, they said the deal was dead.
Jeez.
They would not do anything to help us. My boss's boss came in. I don't know what he did, but knocked it out of the park, and we closed the next day.
That's awesome, man. That's
Different
a great
lender.
story.
It doesn't matter who you work for and who's got your back in this business, because I mean, I could have been left holding the bag on a few of these situations. A lot of companies could have said, "No, sorry, man, we can't do that," and they've really gone to bat for me. And they do it because they care about the clients.
Yeah,
and they don't want the client experience to suffer from really what was a technicality and should not have been a problem. So
that's awesome, man. Dude, I love to hear that. I love that it's been a positive move for you overall. It's always terrible if you make a move and you hate it.
Yeah, if I did, then just wait it out and
life
then
goes on.
Yeah, but that's definitely not the case. It's been really, really great.
Man, here at Someday Homes, it's been a spectacular year for sure. We've got one of our best homes being built in Neptune Beach. That thing is gorgeous.
Dude,
I'd go out there and check it out.
Freaking sick.
Those are going good. And then as a brokerage, of course, in January, we opened up and started bringing more agents on. We brought on four.
I can't believe you guys are just going to give me one of those for free. That's pretty sweet. I'm kidding.
We brought on 4 new agents so far. By some metrics, if you compare that to other companies, you might say, like, well, they have a quota to bring on 10 a month or whatever. But I'm more interested in the person than I am about the numbers. So we've been kind of choosy. But what's great is like the agents who I'm bringing on, like I had one of them out to my house for dinner just the other night. You know, my wife and I, we had them over, had a really great, enjoyable time. We just had a beach day, like a family beach day. Everybody went there. And what's great is like as I'm driving away, you know, I'm talking to Sean and I'm like, there's nobody attending our stuff that I'm like, ugh, great, that person showed up, or I don't. So we're being really protective on that from a culture side. And then on the other side, everybody's closing a ton of deals. Our numbers are higher than they've ever been, which is spectacular. And in exciting news, this Thursday, I'm onboarding somebody who's not only a real estate agent, but also has held like staff support position, like transaction coordinator, admin type work. So she's going to be here to not only kind of start working on her own sales, but to support the agents we have and continue to bring on even further. And then I've got some more lunch appointments. So 7 months into the year from January, starting to kind of pick up momentum. Everything's becoming established.
Yeah,
so.
and Someday Homes, I'll say, like, I've been obviously around a lot of brokerages and companies, and just a lot of them just have this like corporate cloud of death. I don't know if I mean, I work for corporations, doesn't feel that way, but a lot of times you can work for these corporations and they don't know anything about who you are or what you do. You're just some person there that they're trying to make money off of, and that's just definitely not the case here.
Yeah,
the folks I've met are just gold within this company. I think any agents that wanted to come over would be really happy. I mean, they have spent many years, you know, kind of figuring out the pain points of agents, right? Just taking those head on and saying, look, we want to try to work this for you and for us. This is going to be just a very cohesive type of thing, not like, hey, we're the corporation, we're going to make a ton of money off of you and pay you pennies on the dollar,
right? Like
a lot of places do. So to have that kind of mentality, somebody actually looking out for you, not just for their own well-being, I think is important when you're looking at a brokerage.
That's awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
By the time we're back, school will be in session. We'll be recovering from the first week of pickup line.
I have no more
drop-off
hair to
pain.
lose, but I'm sure I probably could find some somewhere.
School starts next week. We're going to be rocking and rolling. If you're an agent out there listening and you want to know more about Someday Homes or Trevor and Cross Country Mortgage, please shoot us a message, leave us a comment. And the same goes for anyone looking to buy or sell real estate here in the Northeast Florida area. And in fact, you're all over the state and in a few other states. So wherever you are, if you're listening, shoot us a message if you're interested in it, either from a agent perspective or a buyer seller perspective. We'd love to connect with you. Love to talk more.
Sounds great, man.